Morning everybody. Well, I've just managed to get on for a half an hour this morning before I get myself up the plot this afternoon. It's there's a little bit of sunshine just starting to come over the corner of that roof in the morning. Unfortunately I don't see a lot of sunshine in the winter, from about November right through till end of February before it clears the roof on my house. But no doubt up the plot it'll be beautiful. As I've said in previous videos, it only takes a little bit of sunshine like this to bring your greenhouse up to temperature. Your cold greenhouse, it can put 10-15 degrees easily on your temperature. So you know that's why I'm never in too much of a hurry to put too much heat on. I've got my little bit of heater on down here. It's only registering 55 in here. It's just coming up to 60. That's fine by me. I'm well chuffed with that. I've got a few leeks, few onions in here, and I've got my cup of tea, and I've got a few little bits and pieces to do this morning before we get onto the plot. Now I've got a lovely parcel beginning of the week from Jennifer Horton. Thanks very much, Jennifer. It's much appreciated, and it's pine strawberries, so it's another one added to our list today. And you can find Jennifer on McQueen's Nursery, which is in Sunderland. She's on Facebook. She's on the Facebook page, and she's email at mcqueensnursery@outlook.com. So check Jennifer's site out. I'm sure we'll be in the next couple of weeks having a look and see what we can see on there. But yeah, thanks very much, Jennifer. I'll be trialing them strawberries this year. I've got 4 up and now. I've got my own crop, which I've had for about 15 years. I'll never get shot of them. That's unless I can find something that'll match them, which would be very doubtful. Me and Roger were busy yesterday morning. We managed to get up there, and we managed to get the 100-foot greenhouse all clear out, and we managed to get the baskets hung in the 100-foot greenhouse, which are the white ones. They taste a bit like a melon come strawberry, if you get me drift. We tried them last year. They were a bit poor because, unfortunately, with me having the accident, I wasn't up there as much. They weren't getting as fed, sprayed, whatever. But anyway, the crop that we did get, they were small, so rather than ditch them, I'm going to try them again. I remember when I got the parent plants, and this is something for everybody to watch for. I remember when I got the parent plants, they did have a little bit of virus on them, but rather than dump them, I persevered with them, sprayed them, cleaned them, repotted them in case there was anything on the roots. And they come quite well, so I managed to take 12 runners off them, and them 12 runners were the parent plants off last year. So what we've done, we've potted them up, and we're going to pot from the runners went in the baskets, as I normally do with all the strawberries. And the parent plants were just left in the main pots, and we're just going to grow them on. We're going to try them again this year. If they don't come too much well, we can get shot them, and we've got 2 or 3 more varieties to try. I've got my Toronto up there. I'm going to definitely going to try them this year because they look a beautiful strawberry. Not so much for the fruit. We didn't taste the fruit last year. What I did is I went into North Shields last year, and I picked a basket up. There was just one basket hanging in the fruiters, and it had 3 plants in, and it looked absolutely amazing. So what I did, I brought it home, as you do, stripped all the flowers off it, and fed the runners, picked the runners down, and we've got 12 young plants of it. So them 12 plants I'll be trialling this year. They looked absolutely marvellous. So I'm going to trial them this year in the baskets and see how they come on. We've been busy down here. I've been busy with the peppers. I've just started off my peppers. Now they're not in here. They're in the. I've got a little bud room in the garage, which I heat to 60 degrees. It's only a small little space with a light in. It's got a sodium light in, and it's got a heat mat in, so I can constantly keep that at 60 degrees. Now, if you're starting peppers off this early, you need the heat. Definitely need the heat for that. I mean, you can start them off in the house, you know, as long as you've got 15 degrees in the house, which is quite easy to achieve that, even on a cold day in your house. It rarely drops below 60 degrees. So if you want to start them off on a windowsill, yep, that's fine. But just make sure. I'm always saying this, when you're starting plants off early, just make sure you've got the equipment and you've got the gear to match them plants once they start growing. I mean, it's no good bringing plants up now like say tomatoes not, and having them ready to go into a cold greenhouse in March. You're just going to lose them. You know, so you got to mix. I mean, you're seeing people online now. You know, the big growers. They've got the lights on, they've got the heat on, and that's only to bring our produce up to the size that they want for the early shows that they need. You know, so that's why they've got all the gear. Fair enough, if you've got a bit of equipment that you can use, you know, to bring the temperature up a little bit. Not so much light, but light's easily achieved in the allotment. Just a top shelf in the greenhouse, right up to nearest you can to your glass or polythene, and you achieve that light. You can bring your plants back down through the day onto the bottom shelf where the heat is. There's loads of ways you can get around that. But yeah, I've started them off, and these are Tequila. I've grew these for a couple of years. These are a little Spanish pepper. Now they've went in. I've got some sent from Dean Hood. Cheers Dean for the little yellow bell ones. They're in. And I also got some Long Joe chili. Now they're in. And all I've done is, you know, my compost. It's multi-purpose. Not too damp. It's just nice and moist. I never have my compost too wet, because cool compost and seeds I don't think go too well together. But yeah, multi-purpose compost and a good handful of really sharp sand. Mix that in, and then on top of the seeds I do me exactly the same mix again, but another handful of perlite, so it's nice and light. I've also got vermiculite, which I use quite a little bit. Not only for the likes of peppers, chilies, tomatoes, but when you're doing the likes of pansies, petunias especially, they don't like being prohibited from light. So when you're sowing your petunias, which will be sown in about a fortnight's time, when you're sowing your petunias, sow them on the top in rows like I do, and I just use a very fine covering of vermiculite, and all that is just to anchor the seeds to the cool compost, the moist compost. Nothing else. As I say, they don't like being prohibited from light, so they'll grow away a lot easier. But that's that. Yeah, so my chilies are going into these, no problem. As I say, a multi-purpose compost, and then just a light covering of perlite over the top of them. They're in the greenhouse here. I've just set them away. They've been in there for 4 days now, so hopefully within a couple of days they'll be popping through. But they'll stop in there for at least 3 weeks, and then by the middle of February, end of February, they can come into here where the temperature's a little bit cooler, but it's still frost free, and they can grow on quite well in here till the middle of March, end of March, and they'll go up the allotment in the cool greenhouse once again, and hopefully by April, beginning of May, we'll have a nice big plant ready for planting out. What I will be doing, I'll be making a cold zone. I've done it for years. Excuse me. I've made a cold zone of chilies. Now a cold zone is just in the cool greenhouse. Using the propagators, I'll be taking a bit of old carpet up sometime this week. In my next video, I'll start with that. What I like to do is on one of my benches, line it with carpet. The trays will go on top, and you can always flip the carpet. If you leave enough space, you can flip the carpet back over the top of them trays of a night time if it's going to be too cold. As I say, up the 100-foot greenhouse in my allotment, the part I'm going to start using for the cool zones, it's just got an extra layer of polythene on the inside, and it's got chippings on the floor, so it keeps the cold away, and temperatures rarely drop below 30 in there, even in a cold one. So once the sun gets up, it's south facing. Once that sun hits that greenhouse, it warms straight up, and it's no problem getting 50, 60 degrees in there throughout the winter months. So I'm quite happy with that. So that's what I planned for the day. I've gotten a load of seed. Centres. Thanks very much, chaps. There's loads of people been sending the seeds up, so I will be trialling them all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write all the people down on a piece of paper who sent us the seeds, and then we'll do a cold zone up the allotment in the same greenhouse where I'm going to put the staging up. And these cold zones, I'll trial every one of them. I think I've got about 10 varieties here to trial. So I'm going to put a couple in each bucket, big 14-inch pots, and they'll go into them, and each one will be treated exactly the same. There's some determinate, there's some indeterminate, and of course, determinate or indeterminate, a bush or a cordon, whatever you fancy. My American ones and my Spanish ones, I think they're indeterminate. They're a bit of a semi-bush in between them. So I'll be trialling them again this year, but I'll be putting them in big black pots because I want an early sown of them Spanish ones. So if you've got any seeds from me and you're raring to go, well, if you've got a little bit of heat, there's no harm in trying them. But if you want to just wait wait for me till I start mine in March. I do a cool zone, and by then your temperatures are starting to heat up and you get a much better crop. But that's for a couple of weeks time. What I am going to do today, I'm going to sow some cauliflower all year round. I'm going to get some of them in. I sent away for a kale, which I spoke in the other video. I'm going to put 100% kale in and 100% cauliflower, and these will just sit in the bottom tunnel at this side of the grapevine. Roger's been up there, but I'll show you this afternoon. He's got all that bed turned over, and we're ready to plant our first early potatoes. But I'll be doing a video next week on that. We'll start with red Juki York off. And what I've been doing the last couple of days is trying to get the last of the baskets finished. Most of them are up in the tunnel. I've got 3 or 4 more to hang this afternoon. So what I'll do, we'll get up the plot this afternoon, and then we'll start on the baskets, and I'll show you how I bring mine inside. They've been inside for 3 weeks, so I'm going to start and get a bit of fertiliser on, get the chains on, get them hung up, and I'll show you all that this afternoon. But as I was on about the seeds and that, I got these from a company that I use a lot, Parks, and they've sent us up 8 lovely young lupin plants. As well as my lupin plants, I've got a dozen beautiful lily combs. So, you know, if you use a company's regular, they will reward you with bits and pieces of theirs. But yeah, that's another thing. They can go on a tray and I can take them up the garden. For the time being down here, well, they've been in about 4 weeks now, 3-4 weeks, and I'm over the moon. And of course the yields are Craig giant onions. So I'm going to crack on with them next week. Middle of next week I'm going to start to do some potting off. I've still got some more Spanish ones there that I sowed them a few weeks ago. Now I'm never in a hurry to pot off from the crook stage, which them are at now. I'm not worried, I just let them grow on. I can get that, pot them off at any time. What I need to do down here is to get rid of some of the plants, get them up the allotment, make sure that little paraffin or the little cassette is working up there, and get some gear sorted out, get the shelves sorted out, get the plants up there where they're secure, and then it gives us a little bit more room down here to start potting off tomatoes, a few bits of veg that I'm going to plant, going to get started on. I've already started on the chilies there in, and I'll have a look at starting some tomatoes next month. But if you haven't got any heat, bide your time. You know, March is fine. March is early enough. You know, if you want to start them in the house, by all means, make yourself a little bit light box. If you go back on my early videos, I'll show you how to make a light box, just a cardboard box, line it with tin foil. You can sit that on a table facing your window, and you'd be surprised how much light that reflects back into your plants, so they grow nice and straight. But as I say, just remember, central heating in the house, it's always too hot for me. I start mine off in the loft where there's no heat whatsoever. The only heat has come from downstairs in my flat itself, and it's always on about the 50-55 mark, which is perfect for me. You know, I'll be starting my geraniums off next week, the busy lizzies next week. So yeah, hey, busy times ahead. But for the time being, I'm going to have this cup of tea, just have a little look round here, what needs to be done, and then I'm up the plot this afternoon and we'll get stuck on these strawberries. Okay, see you all again soon. Right, welcome everybody. Want to say, as this is this morning, we're back up on the plot. I'm just giving you a little bird's eye view of the trench Roger's just finished. I'm hoping that the sun's not going to affect it much, because I'm facing the south now. As you can see, all the baskets are hanging there. We did put up some new benches along here. That was to house all the spring bedding which is along here. Well pleased with that. That's all out the way now. But yeah, this bed's all ready now. We'll just turn it all over. We've got a little bit of seaweed sprinkled on it, which is fine. And then we'll get our first 3 rows of red Juki York. That's our early potatoes. The first early potatoes this year will go into there. So that's a job for next week. But for the time being, I want to get concentrate on these baskets and try and finish off where I was this morning. Right, so as I say, the main priority today was to get up here and get these baskets sorted out. Me and Roger have been over them for the last couple of days. Now, if you remember, in the solstice, I brought them inside. That's through the 3 weeks now, and the difference in that's fantastic. I couldn't lift them when we brought them in. Roger brought them all inside because they're that heavy, well soaked. What I tend to do if they do get too wet, tip them on the sides, and that way any excess water runs off them. But they were well soaked. I don't know if you can pick this up. I want to get as close as I can. There's some lovely green buds here on the crowns. The crowns are just sitting on the surface here. Some fantastic lovely green buds. I'm well chuffed for that. So as I say, they've only been in here 3 weeks. So they're all hanging up now. Just had a good reading, and they're sprinkling the sulphate of potash. And that's the only thing they get. The bags are in there now, so any water now, there's no wastage, no spillage. Everything just goes straight to the plant. If you want to see some of the crops we get from our baskets, if you go to one of the first early videos on my YouTube channel, which is we've got a visit from Dave from Dave's Allotment. If you go to that video, and that gives you some idea of the crops we get from these. Fantastic. We never change our routine, do the same thing, or same composts, same sprays, same feeds every year. The only thing I'm missing this year is because I didn't, it was been poorly last year, I didn't get any nettle juice made up. Yep, slap on a hand for me. Because what I like to do is once you start budding, I like to put a couple of drinks of nettle juice. Of course, you know, nettle juice is full of nitrogen. I like to give them a couple of drinks of that early on, and then once the fruit and buds come on, I change to my potash feeds, which is comfrey, seaweed, just horse manure or water, anything like that, and feed the strawberries throughout the year and that. No chemicals whatsoever, all good homegrown stuff, organically grown, and that's where we like it. And the only sprays I'll get is a garlic spray on these. If I do get an infestation, and I might make a rhubarb, but it'll be a very light one, a rhubarb boiling, and I'll only spray of an evening when there's no beneficial bees and bugs not around, hoverflies, and I'll only try and spray before the fruit's set. So as I say, we like to be as organic as we can, me and Roger, just keep everything nice and clean. But yeah, fantastic. As I mentioned before, we've just finished off these shelves. We've got shelves running the full length of this tunnel now, and there's a first class tray of Bellis Daisy. Now these are only going to be sitting here for another 2 to 3 weeks. Then they'll go outside on the benches outside with a bit of cover over, round about the middle to the end of February, and then they'll sit there right through March, and then we'll have a lovely big plant for planting out at the end of March. The wallflowers, the sweet williams, there's all sorts all the way down, but well chuffed for them. They're growing well. As I say, I was a bit late in putting the seed in last year, but I thought, well, if I overwinter in the polytunnel, I've done it a couple of years, and they've worked really well. If you've got a space, by all means do it. But yeah, that's it for in here for the time being. We'll pop in next door and I'll show you what we've been doing in there. Right, well, here we are in the top tunnel. As you can see, all our nets are on. This is full of spring cabbage at the moment, and we've got a couple of nice rows of Japanese onions here, just to finish off the last bit of land. Once again, with your hoses are all out. Once these cabbages come out, this bed's going to get ready for the tomatoes, so the only thing that'll go in there is a good feeding of seaweed, and that's our main tomato crop in here this year. As I say, we have got the luxury of being able to move our greenhouses around each year. We'll have two big tunnels and a big greenhouse, so we can rotate each year. As I mentioned in a previous video, I always like to finish one of my tunnels with cabbages, and that way the cabbages cleans the bed for us. It takes all the excess salts out that's been lying in there, takes all them out, and it leaves the bed nice and clean for to follow on after the next year with your tomatoes or sweet corn or whatever crop you want to grow. But that's where we like to grow ours, and we never have to flush a bed. It's always nice and clean. But yeah, I'm well chuffed. This one also has got the benches in, and what I have been doing, or what Rich has been doing, is getting, and this is what second year strawberries. Now these come out of the baskets last year, and as I say, when we take the root cuttings go into baskets once they're fully grown into decent pots. They go into the baskets for the first year. Now the baskets, what they do, they give a good crop, and then they also give a good crop of new runners. I always take my new runners from my first year plants, so they're nice and healthy, nice and fresh, and of course with them being young plants, are strong enough to be able to take the weight of the fruit plus take extra runners from them. But once we've taken the runners, we empty the baskets out, and the plants get put into these pots and then just sit out on the benches all summer. And then this is the second crop, so these have just been brought in this morning, so a month later, and they're on the top benches. I just brought them all in. Now they'll sit there for a good 2 to 3 weeks. We don't have to do nothing with them, nothing whatsoever. They're fine, they're a bit wet, but there's plenty of drainage holes in the bottom. We like to use these trays just to hold any excess water. We can usually have about 1 inch of water in the bottom just to feed these just to feed these tubs, but keeps them nice and moist anyway. As I say, we'll not do nothing with them for about a couple of weeks. We'll let them dry out, and then I'll do exactly the same thing as what I did with the baskets. I'll give them a good clean out, a good weeding, and all they'll get is a bit of sulphate of potash around the tops, and then a good spraying with garlic. But yeah, well chuffed with them, love them. I say this tunnel's going well. We're starting to get it tidied up a little bit. I've got my little stock licks over the back there. They'll have to go out soon, because I think they're starting to twist a little bit there and they're getting a bit too long. Of course, with the heat in here, it's a cold polytunnel, but once that sun gets on here, it's that big an expanse. You get a bit of sunshine and it boosts the temperature by about 10-15 degrees easy. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. Okay then, so we'll pop next door. I've got a little bit things to show you in there before we knock off. Right, here we are, and the puts back in the 100-foot greenhouse once again. Now these are all the white strawberries. Roger just told me them today actually, and this morning I've been getting them ones cleaned up once again. Bit of sulphate of potash on, weeded out, and all they'll need now is a good spraying of garlic. So I'll get that done this weekend. So they're right through. These I tried last year. I had them in small pots. These are the white strawberries, and they're called. They've got like a melon taste to them. We didn't really take to them, but I'm going to give them another try because with it's been, as I say, been poorly last year. I didn't really get as much time to spend on them as I would have liked. So what I've done this year, I've put them in baskets, and I'm going to try them in the baskets and see how they go this year. If we're not happy with them next year, we can always go the journey. That's no problem. We'll get shot of them, and we can get some other. See, I've got me new ones from Jenny Orton, and I've got some Toronto down there. I'll start with them. They're a fantastic flower. I remember when I bought them in Shields, but it was just for the arms that caught me. Nice long arms, gorgeous flowers in them. Nice pink flower. And if I was attracted to them, I'm sure the beasties and the bees will be in there. Once they get their eyes on them, whoop, it's going to bring them straight in. And there's nothing better than getting your greenhouse full of insects, and that's going to do all the pollination for you. The only other thing I put in my greenhouse, I've got my tomatoes in, is marigolds, which you'll know, and that's just to keep the white fly away. Apart from that, everything else, it's open season. Birds, bees, they're all in there, and I just let them have a free time just to do what they want. As with the fruit outside, the raspberries, the strawberries, never net them at all. We take from the sides, from the front, from the back, whatever's on the top, the birds can have. Quite happy. Let them dig in and fill their boots. So at the end of the day, you need the birds down here in the garden for your slugs, your snails, and yeah, we're quite happy. Even with the odd strawberries that we've got lying around on the sides, blackbirds can come down and peck away. But it's not only the fruit eating, as I say, they're biting at the slugs and the snails and all the other little beasties that's knocking around. So I'm quite happy to let them go. So I'm well pleased with that. I've got that done, got them sorted, they're hanging out. We're on to our second year pots. We've got the big black ones outside. That's a third year pots now. That's another month for them. So it's going to be the middle of February to the end of February before they get taken in. Idea being, our baskets were in a month ago, our pots are coming in now this week, and our tubs are going next one. So we've got we've got a 3-month span of bringing the different size pots in. And of course, once it starts fruiting, it's exactly the same. It expands your fruiting season to no end. We'll start cropping around about middle April, the end of April, and it'll go right through until August. We've also got 15 big strawberries in pots in the back, which stop outside all the time. All they get done is cleaned up at the end of the year, weeded out, bit of potash on, and maybe a bit of manure on the top once the crowns die back, bit of fresh manure, and they're good to go again for another year. Just kept spray again, guard spray, bit of soapy water, keep any green fly, bugs and that away, and they're fine. Over the moon with them. So yeah, we're progressing. Really pleased. Everything's starting to come together at last. I'm starting to get around a little bit better on my feet, so I can't complain. I just want to move my tripod a bit and just spin you around here. Oh, for the sweet pea lovers, well, here's mine. If you didn't manage to get any in the autumn, like I say, it's September, October, now there you go, and that was just a little bit of weed, a little bit of grimson, a little bit of grass. That's my own pot and compost in here. So, as I say to people, if you make your own pot and compost, you will get a few weeds coming up, so, you know, once you know your weeds from your seeds, you're laughing. Now they, to me, are perfect, just the right size that I want. In the 100-foot greenhouse through October, November, I had the gales, there wasn't any roof on there, but these are still sitting in there under a little bit of cover, that's all. Freezing cold, wind, rain, and they're still growing away, and that's the way I like them. No heat whatsoever. To me, they're a perfect size, because come the end of this month, gardeners being gardeners, I'm going to chop the heads off them. Yeah? And I know people will be saying, God almighty, you struggle to grow lovely little plants like that, and then you're going to chop the heads off them. Well, unfortunately, yes, I'll take me nice sharp scissors to them. I like to cut mine round about the beginning of February, end of January, beginning of February, depending on the size, depending on what your winter's been like. I mean, today it's like a summer's day, yeah, and I'm just going to have a little look at the thermometer. And believe you me, it's reading 66 in here. Now this is just another part of the greenhouse, and this is where I'm going to set up for the cold part. We're starting to sow the cold tomatoes, or cabbage, or collies, all them will get sown in here. Just cold, no heat whatsoever. But they'll grow great in here. I've got an extra lining on the roof. I've got the greenhouse to this side of the door. I've got the shed to that side of the door, so I've got no wind factors, and that's going to hit us, you know, creating drafts and whatnot. I'll put a piece of carpet along the top here, which I mentioned before, and then the trays can go and sit on top of the carpet there. If need be, of an evening, a bit of carpet can be flipped on top just to give them that a bit extra security from any frost that's going to be overnighting. But yeah, apart from that, it'll be fine. But these will be chopped, and what will happen is the side shoots will come out middle to the end of March. They're going to be perfect. They're going to be a nice bushy plant, ready for planting up in the garden. So that's for mine for home. I've got a packet here, which I will sow cold next weekend. So what we'll do, we'll start sowing some cold sows. Now, just go canny with these sweet peas, because what you don't want them rotting off in a cold compost. So take a few tips from me, and I'll show you how to make a cold sown in the January, end of January, beginning of February. Normally, I start my sweet peas off in March and April. I've got a lot of family and friends who love the sweet peas, which I'll be growing for. But I will make an early sown. If you want to start sowing, you've got a cold greenhouse. I wouldn't recommend growing them in the house, because there's too much heat in the house, and they'll romp away. Trouble is, once you get your plants up to a certain size and you want to put them outside, you've got to have somewhere to keep them. In case you get a check with the cold, you've got to have a greenhouse with a little bit of heat on, or you know. So a cold greenhouse is fine for them. As I say, looking at them, they grew fantastic. So I will be setting them off next week. What I've got to do is I've got to get started on a compost. So my cement mixer's next door. That's just been sorted out. I'm getting some new compost. I'm going to go into one of my muck bins next week and riddle some of that out. So I'll show you what we got out the muck bins. The black gold we call it. But I'll make my mixture up, which is the 3-2-1 mixture, quite easy. And we'll make a massive mix up. But what I'll do, I'll cut it into sections, reduce it down so you can at home, if you've got the stuff that we use, you can make the same sort of mix but on a smaller scale. But that's no problem. And this is another must. Next week, as I posted on my Facebook page last night, the croissants, the stools they've been in sight for just before the Christmas now, and some absolutely fantastic young cuttings on there. There's a good 8 on there, and this is one of my all-time favourites, Max Ready. Look at that beautiful reflection yellow. It's a gorgeous flower. so I'll be taking a few cuttings of that. I've got quite a few varieties, about 10 varieties. As I say, I'm not going to show again this year, but I like to keep you stock and I like to keep you flowers. So I'll be doing cuttings from them next week. So I must get a mix made up and then we're good to go. But I'll go through all that in the next video. If you just want to show a few flowers for the family and friends and for the home, and then just follow us and we'll show you how to how to take some good cuttings and how to build your stock up. I will do a couple of different trials with these. I know there's people mentioned that they don't like using hormone rooting powder. I don't use it all the time. If you go to my last video when I took the grapevine cuttings, some of them I didn't use rooting powder. You can use honey. It's been a natural insecticidal for years. You know, people put it on wounds and afterwards. Same with the plants. You know, dip your plants in honey, and that'll help them root. There is another one I want to try, which is willow. And it's taking a little bit of willow, just a small piece of cane. You don't have to go chopping half a tree down. Just a piece of young branch that's been grown last year, a whip. Cut it into sections and drop it in some water, some warm water. And I think it's a tannin that comes out the wood, and it's exactly the same as a rooting hormone. So we'll try that. We'll do 2 or 3 methods, and we'll see which one's the easiest. But you know, I like to try new things, different things every year, and I'm a great believer if you can get by just organically without using any chemicals at all. I will do. You know, it's a lot of people use chemicals without thinking you're the alternative. I'm a great believer in saying prevention is better than cure. So if we can prevent something from happening, as I say, I'll use marigolds in the greenhouse to keep away the green fly, the white fly. I'll use a soft soap spray if I do get someone for black fly, mealy bugs. You might have to have something a little bit stronger. Some of the diseases that you do get in plants, you kind of find if you kind of find a good organic cure for it, and you've got to go down the road of chemicals, then use a one that's least toxic to the outside as you can. There's nothing worse than spraying stuff and you're going to have birds and bees that coming down and feeding and eating from them, and of course them being hurt. So that's why we like to go around the organic route, trying to be as friendly as we can towards the animals and the bugs up here. Now the compost that I'll be out next week will be full of worms, bugs, mealy, you name it. They'll be full of them. But what I like to do is to bring a good couple of bucketfuls out, sieve what I need out, and leave it on the bench. That way, any bugs that's in there, any beasties and spiders can crawl away out of it and get back onto the floor and scuttle off. And after a week or two, it's warmed up a little bit. It'll be great for mixing up for my compost. And that's what I'll be doing next week. But we'll start the video off with the sweet peas next week. We'll make a soon with that. I've got some cabbage, some collie. We'll get them in. My peppers are well away. Now I will make a cold soon of tomatoes in the March. For those that sent us all the seed up, once again, thanks very much. I've got about 14 different ones to trial this year. But this is where we'll be trialing them, in this house here. And they'll all be in pots. Exactly the same. Each one will have the same compost. We'll be spraying them exactly the same. We'll be watering, feeding exactly the same. So we'll get a good idea of how they grow and what sort of crop we can get off them. So if you want to follow us throughout the year, we'll do the tomato trials, and then by all means follow it, and we'll let you know, and especially what it tastes like, because Roger loves his jumbo tomatoes, so he can taste all them, and I'll taste all the cherry ones. We've got banana legs, we've got cherry, we've got orange, we've got red, we've got striped. You name it, we've got it. But we're gonna have some great fun this year, just trialing them all. But we'll start that in March. Cool zones, nothing wrong with that. I've got cool zones in the other greenhouse here. I've got leeks and that in there, so they're doing fine. But we'll let them get on for the time being. And but I just want a quick thank you to all the new subscribers. Keep sharing, keep subscribing. Great to hear from you. I love reading the comments down below. And I'll try and get back to you as much as I can throughout the winter, because I've got a load to talk about. So you know, if you have got something to say, well, comment underneath, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get a chance. But hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed getting up here. I'm going to start shifting some plants into here, because it's as I say, it's been lagged now. We've got both the doors repaired. We've got some new benches in here. which all the plants are going to sit on. And we've got a little paraffin heater underneath, if need be, for a little bit of paraffin on, put a small flame on, and that keeps it frost free. I've got my plastic containers there, get my carpet down, and we're good to go. So next week I'll be cracking on in here, get a lot of plants in, but what I will do, I'll get that mix made up first, and then we can start doing a few early sowings for the beginning of the season. But as I say, if you haven't got any heat, just hang fire a bit and watch what we do, and you can, no doubt you'll get through the year with some canny crops. I'm going to plot on now. The sun's just started to die back down there. It's coming at 2 o'clock. It's northeast. Been absolutely fantastic this morning. Been a lovely day. 60 odd in here in a cool greenhouse. Can't beat it. So I'm going to shut these doors down, keep a little bit of heat in, and get started doing a little bit of potting off while I'm here. But, no doubt I'll get back to this in a week's time, and we'll crack on again. Just one last thing. If you can't wait for the videos to come out, and then get on our Facebook page. It's Jeff Foreman on the plot, and we'll comment every night. Lots of lads from around the country posting their pics, letters, answering us. You know, get on our Facebook, send them a request, and we'll put you on the Facebook page, and you can chat away with her all week long if you want. But I'll try and get as much video done this year. I never got quite as much as what I would have liked to last year with being at my accident, but this year, different story. We've got a load of stuff in the pipeline. We've got a load of building to do. I've got a roof to repair where my foot went through. So no doubt I'll enjoy. I'll not be on the roof doing it, that's for sure. I've been warned from the missus. I'm not to climb for the rest of my life. So no doubt my son will be up, and I've got a couple of friends here. I can be down below cutting the timber, and they can be up fixing all the roof up. But that's a job we're going to do this year. We're going to make another greenhouse up the top there just for storing our timber in. That'll take quite a while, but we'll get that done. And then we've got a few little building projects we want to do around the benches and that in the greenhouses, and we'll take you through it. It's all for making life easier for us at the end of the day. But hey ho, it is what it is, and we'll get there. So for the time being, thanks again. As I say, thanks for sharing, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.